Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of HR to CHRO podcast. And today we have Miss Neha Gupta with us, who amazingly, from the starting of her career, became an HR head within 7 years. So I'll, I'll come to that. Let me first properly introduce her. So she started her career with RPG in training. Then she was at United Health Group in L&D. Then she was talent management. From training, she went into talent management into Dan Humby, and then she was HR head within 7 years of starting her career at Everest. And then she was at Extria, then again Dunhamby, and then currently she is head HR of APAC at Material. So thanks, Neha. Thanks for giving us time. Welcome.
It's a pleasure to interact with you, Amit, and be on this podcast with Kushalta. Thank you so much. Looking forward to
Generally,
this. Yeah.
yeah, welcome. Generally, I ask my participants that, why HR? But your journey is so amazing that let me start with what is the secret of your success of becoming an HR head within 7 years of starting your career so that our viewers can benefit from it.
No, of course. My career in HR itself was for 7 years before I became a head of HR. But career in life is a bigger journey than that. So if I talk about the secret success of becoming anything at all, and you would know it, I mean, being a part of Kushalta and all the interventions that you do, that a lot of who you become comes from, first of all, a belief in your mission, what you really want to do, having good intentions and a mental plan of how do you go about it, and a service orientation to things. So I certainly think that as much as my HR career of being in learning and development and talent and training has really shaped me to be a CHRO, my internships and a little bit of journey before that into customer service, into sales, and some of the early assignments that I really picked up right after my education shaped me as an HR professional that have not just led me to become an HR head in within 7 years of being in HR, but I would say with the grace of God, being a very successful one, I've been able to really help the organizations and grow from there. And a lot of that, as I said, is pivoted into early roles within customer service, within sales, and really having working on mental clarity. Let's just say that.
Very nice. See, when I started my career, Neha, HR was seen as a support function.
Correct.
90s, and it was looked at in a certain way. And cut to now, where HR is now a strategic partner. Now, you mentioned that your earlier experience in customer support and sales, and and more CHROs, HR heads I talk to, they keep on referring that the knowledge about other departments, other sectors, it is very important. So,
Correct.
so how has your earlier experience of customer support, sales, and other experiences? How has that helped you in
Absolutely.
becoming a successful HR professional?
Of course. That's a lovely question, Amit. Thank you for asking that. As an HR professional, one of the biggest thing that one needs to do, at least in my experience of the past decade or so of being an HR leader, that I've realized is um, there's a balance that is needed in terms of helping the business and the people meet in middle ground, making sure you're constantly showing them that what really are the common goals that make them successful. That cannot happen if you either don't understand people or you don't understand how businesses operate. And that's the reason I think some of these experiences of keeping your ears on the ground, knowing people but also knowing businesses becomes really important. A lot of people who I meet, youngsters that I meet who want to make a career in HR, when I ask them, hey, why do you want to move into HR? They could be graduates in HR programs, they could be professionals in other functions. And I generally get an answer saying, oh, I love people. I want to be in HR because I love people. And that's great as an intention, but that's not necessarily what makes people successful in HR. I think it's important to understand that HR as a function is not just about people. It's contextual, that you have to make people successful within a business or within an environment, and just good intentions or just a interest in loving people or adoring people is not something that will always help, because in HR you meet people who are frustrated, you meet people who are really not really aligned at the right time. You have to help them have difficult conversations with each other, as much as of course there are nicer parts of HR. Now, talking about my earlier experiences, if I talk about some of the bits, is I did an internship with my own aunt for about 3 years when she was setting up her print magazine in a small town. So we used to really be on one of those kinetic scooters that were very prevalent 20 years back. So both of us would sit there and just go to different government offices to really seek ads for a local magazine. So some conversations, sitting in those government offices where when ACs were not that prevalent, you're sitting in a 40-degree temperature for 2 hours, 3 hours. You develop patience and you realize that, a government official, for them, you're nobody. They may not necessarily have time for you always, but you can't really be angry about it. So that takes away, for example, your sense of entitlement that the world owes you anything. You've got to earn your laurels, and there'll be times, again, you're dealing with humans, when they'll be super nice to you. There are times they will not be nice to you, and that's not about you, that's not about them, that's just how the situation is. I was very lucky to do a couple of professional internships during my education with the Oberoi Group, and I really credit them a lot for building or wiring that customer service orientation in my brain. I always feel, having worked with and lived in many hotel chains across the world or hospitality organizations, that nobody does, for example, customer service better than Oberoi, or at least they didn't used to. I don't know the story now. So they taught me just the passion and craziness with which you really treat the customer. Why the customer is the king? Why is it that people are at the heart of every decision and how they run the world? So personalization of things. So for example, I can share an example with you that when I was training in a hotel with them, and I've done everything right from being in a kitchen peeling carrots to really serving in a restaurant, really cleaning toilets. And they're very particular about the fact that when you're housekeeping and cleaning toilets, if you observe a pattern that your customer wants the toilet roll folded a certain way, you do that. Or if they have a particular brand of deodorant that they're traveling with and it's getting over, they would actually get that particular brand of deodorant replaced for them at no cost, because and it comes from a place of, imagine that a person is traveling that far, they have no way to really find what's there. How can you make their stay really really special? So I saw some of that really happening. Or for example, dishes that you're really serving someone an omelette and they don't like the bread and omelette to kind of mix together. So you particularly make sure that that's separated. So that level of personalization is something that I learned. And now when I deal with my employees, I can recognize them as human beings. And I think that's been a core strength of mine as an HR leader, that it's never really gone in my head. I think I've never had a sense of entitlement or a feeling that you can color everybody with the same brush. I'm able to recognize people as individuals, and I'm able to understand that not every good or bad interaction is a result of people wanting to be mean to you or anything like that. It's just situations, and how do you sort of solve them by being objective.
Very nice, very nice. So powerful. So sales experience, sitting in front of customer, handling their tantrums, and having the patience and giving that personalized service. So how can a young HR professional who's starting his or her career directly in HR, how can he or she have that kind of mental makeup?
I think so. Just making sure that, as I said, there's mental clarity. There's an understanding that there is that the world doesn't revolve around you is very important. So the first thing that you've got to let go of, as I said, is a sense of entitlement and ego. Now that has to happen by having a lot of mental clarity, self-awareness, and a belief system that you start grounding early on, along with keeping an open mind, along with knowing what really are your non-negotiables. So being very aware of what your value system is, and at the same time having a desire to serve the world know really your purpose and mission is really important. So few things which is I think some people really benefit by journaling. Some people really benefit by meditating every day. Some really reflect well when they see, for example, movies or music really something that resonates with them. We used to have a practice in our country for the longest time where you would live in these big family units and spend a lot of time with elders, and it doesn't make sense at that point in time what they're telling you, but some of the wisdom that you can really get from people really helps you. Of course, that's now been replaced by having more mentors and coaches if you don't really have that system at home. So I would say at least know that to tune into the wisdom of others who know better than you is also a great recipe to become successful in HR. And of course, knowing your craft as an HR professional, knowing the business, first of all, knowing that HR is not really a watertight compartment. You're just, even as an HR professional, you're ultimately helping the business, but from a people side of things is extremely important, Amit, at least in my perspective. Yeah.
Very nice. So, see, the next question I want to ask is, after having the experience of sales and then working in a very good hospitality company, Oberoi's, then why did you decide to move into training? But before that, see, you talked about belief system and the mental clarity. It is very important to have that. Or maybe I could also link it to the purpose in one's life. Like you said that you want to help people and be helpful to others. So could we have some more thoughts on that about belief system, purpose, mental clarity, and the desire to help others, desire to make a difference?
If you are in a people profession, before you can help them, are you able to help yourself? That's extremely important. So handling people is an important responsibility. That's not something that can happen without you being in, I want to say, you being in control of your own thoughts in a way. Let me try and explain what I'm trying to say. So it's the analogy of you put your oxygen mask before you help others is what really an air hostess says. So I think being in people profession is very similar to that. I am not saying your life has to be perfect to be an HR professional. I am not really saying that you need to have completely. We all will be saints, right? Living in jungles, we would be yogis if that was the case.
Correct.
What I'm trying to say is that when people come to you with questions, and there could be all sorts of things, right? People, as an HR professional, would come to you with simple queries like, what is my pay slip? What is my in-hand salary? Or who do I reach out to for this particular thing? When is my appraisal happening? And very soon that relationship transforms into, without you knowing, you becoming a coach and mentor. They start asking suggestions that, I'm not getting along with my manager. What do I do? Or I had a fight with my colleague, or there's too much pressure. I'm not able to manage work-life balance. And you have to give them counseling as much as you have to give a solutions, right? Many a times you have to give those. So if you are not clear yourself, what are the right solutions? How will it happen? How do you build a base for being able to being that problem solver? First of all, as you grow on the journey of being an HR professional, you become very clear on why you want to be an HR professional. What's in it for you? A lot of people are HR professionals because they just want to manage HR systems, and that's fine. A lot of people say, as I was telling you before, I love people. A lot of people find a lot of joy in seeing people develop and grow. So we be very clear about why you are in HR. Sometimes these can be temporary assignments, saying, let me try and see what HR is like. I'm a sales leader, I'm a tech leader, and I will go back to my business. Or I want to do joint roles, whatever it is, but be very clear about why you want to be in HR and write that down somewhere is what I tell people. The power of writing is something that I cannot stress enough upon. I have my own miracle story to share, which I will, but write that down. And then look at what really are your goals, your own priorities. How can you manage a performance management system and tell people, write your goals, write your appraisal, think about your work when you are not doing that yourself in your own life? So I think that becomes really important, and that's where I think that network of coaches, learning and training solutions, organizations like yours, Amit, I think Kushalta, for example, comes into play. There's so many, right solutions that are around people. They just have to pick and choose. So you can't, We need to have that humility as professionals to know you will not have all the solutions for by yourself. That's the reason human beings live in a community. That's why organizations like Kushalta exist, and we have to make sure that as professionals we know, oh, now is the time to invest in myself. I need to go do a particular program. I need to go tap into this particular skill. I need to go, for example, and understand that how really is my brain operating, what how can I change some of my fundamental beliefs that are putting me down. But till you don't explore, how will you get to know? So people will have to think about some of those solutions.
Very nice. See, this is such a powerful discussion we are having. I think we can have the entire podcast on this, but let me spend some more time with your permission on
Hmm.
this. Exploring. So, how does one explore a young professional or a young student who's about to graduate? Maybe, like you said, that you tried different internships. Is that the solution, or is it mentors, or is it both? So, should one, a youngster, should he or she try to do an internship in sales, maybe in operations, maybe in HR, and then try to find out what do I want? See, because this is such a powerful statement. What do I want? I still meet people at the age of 40, 45, 50, even who
Hmm.
don't know what do they want actually.
Right,
Some
right.
some thoughts on this. How can they know what they want?
Of course. And I think knowing what you want is a journey, and that changes from time to time. And sometimes, if you don't know what you want, that's also okay. Not knowing what you want and not knowing that you don't know is a problem, if I'm making sense. So I think it's important to be aware of, do I have clarity or do I not have clarity? Both the states are okay. Let me start there. What should a young professional do? How should they start their career? I think on the ground experience is extremely important. So I would say as much life experience as you can gather and use your time effectively, being very aware of that is super important. When I was in, and there is no easy path to success, is what I feel, Amit. I mean, when I was in my college, I've done my hotel management, just sharing a little bit of my routine. Nobody pushed me to do that. I used to wake up and go and do an internship in British Library for a couple of hours, and I'd just gone and said, "Can I do this for you?" Where I would just arrange their books, and this was in Bhopal. I would open their library, set it up for like basically for the day, and by the time the receptionist walked in, people's coffees were ready, things were sorted in a way, registers were open and everything. And then I would drive to my college. So my college ran from 9 in the morning to 5 in the evening. So, and we had a lunch break from 1 to 2. From 1 to 2, which was the lunch break, at that point in time, I would leave a little early and I would go to Akashvani Bhopal, and I was a live radio host for them. So I auditioned, they had a program, and I was a live radio host for them because that this was Women's Empowerment Year that was going on for a women's program. So I was the youngest compeer to do a women's program for them. I had a 70-year-old co-host with me, and then there was me, and both of us used to run that program. I would just eat something on the way in the lunch break, come back to my college, finish my whatever work was that I was doing, and I would go to a restaurant and do another internship where I used to wait tables. And I am the daughter of a family that's politically connected and has lawyers and like engineers and stuff. So I faced my own fair amount of challenges at home with people saying women in our family don't work, they don't certainly wait tables. If you'd want to do something academic, that's great. And I didn't, like, I was not a rebel child in the way where I picked up the fight for the joy of it, but managing those relations diplomatically, convincing my parents, my uncles and aunts to say, hey, it's a good thing, you should come and see how I do this, there's a lot of dignity in this job. I would do that internship, return back home at 9 in the night, maybe write my script for the next day's program, and then I would just go to a dreamless sleep. And I used to tutor kids on the weekend. So if you have a lot of energy, you can really party, which is also great. We all need some time off, or you can find your joy into different kind of assignments, and you meet a lot of people. It's just a matter of perspective, right? You can look at a job or an internship and say, God, do I have to do that? Or you could say, I get to do that. Can you believe it that I'm 18 years old, I 17 years old, I don't have a lot of experience, and three different organizations have agreed to really keep me. Yes, they're not paying me, but they could easily have said, oh, she's a kid, let her go away. So I would say, don't uh, limit your choices when you're young in terms of I should try this or not. Like, before saying yes or no, have a look at what's available, lean yourself into it, know life experience, goes really waste is what I'll say. And of course, take care of your health. I think I overdid it sometimes. You don't necessarily have to do it. Step back sometimes and also take care of your health. But that would be my advice. Try everything before you decide HR is the right thing for you.
Very nice. Very nice. And we come to the belief system because people generally say they try to come out with excuses. Oh, I stay in a small city, there are no opportunities. So I'm sure Bhopal, though it's a capital, does not have the same opportunities as a Delhi or a Mumbai. So
Correct.
even there, if a person is willing, he or she can find opportunities to explore himself or herself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can find opportunities to explore. Two more things I'll say or add on to this, Amit, is, and we'll come to opportunities. One is, even right now as an HR leader, whenever I go to a new organization or whenever I have free time in my organization, I go to different departments and my colleagues over there, and I work with them. So I have an IT function in this organization. All the youngsters, Gen Zs who work there are amazing. Sometimes I'll just sit with them and say, hey, help me understand how do you raise a ticket and close a ticket. That's how we implemented the HR ticketing system in our organization. So for me, it's sitting in HR is not about people will come to me. I will also go to people to understand their work. I am right now have an assignment of selling something for my organization, which I'm kind of also managing. And nobody asked me to do it. I offered and said, hey, you're selling these services. I understood the product. Can I go and make some contacts in the market for you? So that hunger to do more, that desire to do more is something that I think is extremely important. And that's not just a youngster's play. If all HR leaders or functional leaders operated where they saw organization as a collective thing that they have to make successful, rather than thinking, oh, this is my department, this is what I do, I think people will be a lot more successful and operate as successful teams. That's what a true agile world really looks like, is what I will say. That don't lose that attitude just because you think you've arrived in life or you are at a certain. That's where growth stops, I think.
Very nice, very powerful. This is so powerful, Neha. So, what would be your message to a youngster who has so many perceived limitations? I have
Hmm.
a problem. I come from this background. Maybe my English is not good. Maybe
Hmm.
my education is not good. Maybe I have this limitation. I have that limitation. So, what would be your advice? I mean, this is so powerful.
Yeah.
What we are discussing.
No, of course. I think my advice would be, uh, first of all, constantly challenge your brain when it is, I think that the more comfortable you make your brain and your body, the more comfort they seek. So care for them, but treat them like a child in a way where you have to really see what your inner dialogue is and why is it happening. Why is your brain telling you, oh, you're not good at English, don't do this? Is that belief coming from a place because your brain is telling you it's too scary, you'll get embarrassed if you talk to, you'll embarrass yourself, your English is not good? Is that belief coming from somebody, a friend, a family member, a teacher who told you this? Oh, you're not good enough. Human capacity is limitless, Amit. I'm going to share a personal secret with you. We spoke about the power of writing. I was born in a very small town next to Bhopal, and we moved to Bhopal later because of family circumstances. But I'd grown in a village-like setup. Of course, in a family that was very well-to-do and abundant for a certain time, and we went through some financial challenges, and I had vitiligo as a child since I was about 8 years old. So I used to look really odd. I faced all those biases and all of those things, and yet I think for some reason I've had a very indomitable spirit. I would definitely credit books for that. I would credit some good elders in my life, my family and teachers who always kept me motivated. But I've also heard negative voices in my family. No woman had worked, and I was a girl with vitiligo, 8 9 years old girl, where I would say elders say, oh, she will not even get married, what will happen to her life, um, you know and then the family was going through financial crisis, and things were happening. Oh, they're going to completely be doomed. Maybe she'll have to figure out how things. But then there were other people who said, oh, you read so much, that's great, that's your power, keep reading, you speak so well. And I used to be like this, really full of temper. There were people who told me, channelize your temper and your energy the right way. So when I was about entering my teens, I'll tell you, I used to journal a lot. So I took a piece of paper and I wrote, and I said, I literally visualized it. Nobody used to teach visualization back then, saying, I am a successful business leader. I live in Delhi. I have a massive house, and I have these like beautiful children. I have a car, and this is what really my work looks like. And there were like five, six things that I've written as if I'm doing that in present. And I folded that and kept it in a book, and off it went into my almirah. Cut to 20 years later, when we were changing houses for some reason, I went to my mom's place and I found that paper and I said, 9 out of those 10 things have happened in my life. I don't know how, but that's the power of manifestation. I have goosebumps as I'm telling you this, but it was so funny that what you tell yourself becomes your reality over a period of time. So I'm coming back to the belief system to say every time your brain tells you you can't do something, this is your limitation. No, that miracles happen on a daily basis, but the first step is to take those negative voices, understand where they are coming from, and say, let's try it. Like, what's the worst that can happen if I believe in myself, right?
Very nice, very powerful. These are so powerful words. Yeah. So you also talked about that you'll come back to opportunities when we were talking that. So you want to
Right.
add something on opportunities?
I've lost my train of thought. Remind me.
So we were talking about how should a person in a small town find opportunities to
Yeah.
build relationships.
I think now, of course, the world is very different. You could, simply, even if you are in a small town, there are a lot of opportunities that are available online. So you don't have to just find opportunities within where you are. You can just go and find freelancing opportunities, internships that can happen outside. Um, if you want to find something in your own city and you don't know anyway, like in our times, we would just go out and take a bus or pick up a bicycle and like go around and talk to people. Now you can do that just by doing a hashtag search for your city on an Instagram or one of those social media websites, LinkedIn and others, and opportunities really come up. So networking helps. I think LinkedIn is a great tool at youngsters' disposal, that follow the right leaders, follow professionals, talk to people, cold message or write to 100 people, two will respond. Maybe they won't. There's always the next day. Reach out to 100 more people. The world is full of 8 billion people. How many connections are you trying to make? And as far as bad experiences go, again, a lot of people are worried. Their family tells them, especially for girls and even young boys, when they're protective, saying, you go out and like connect with so many people. What if you come across someone who's trying to dupe you and they're not a great person, or whatever? Again, I mean, the only way to live in a world which is full of good and bad people is to have those experiences. So be very clear about your value system. Will people try to take advantage of you? Yes, you will find people who will do that. But and that's why I initially said, be very clear about your value system. For example, I know integrity is high on my list, dignity is high on my list, grace is high on my list. So throughout these 25 years, I have never taken a petty joke in my stride. Anybody who's tried in any of my workplaces, be it a cafe, be it a library, be it a sales office, or be it my role as an HR leader and my peers, anybody who's tried to make a petty joke, there is no space for it, and they know that's my hard boundary. Anybody who's ever tried to think that they can flatter me into doing things, or bribe me into doing things, they know that not only will I have a problem with it, I will make their life hell for even thinking that they offered me something like this. So you have to be very clear about what your partner is, what your baseline is. Will you still have people who will try and take advantage of you? Will you be made a fool of? Absolutely. But bad experiences are as much a part of life. So have courage, keep yourself safe, have your clear value system, and then go look out for opportunities. Now, of course, it is much more easier and open to look for opportunities, is what I'll say. But one has to leave the comfort zone. Let's just say that.
Very powerful. All right. So see, then how did you decide to get into training, which ultimately led you into
Mhm.
HR? So from
Mhm.
sales experience, from internship, hotel management, then why
Yeah.
into training?
Sure. So there's a story to why I did hotel management as well. I wanted to do journalism, um, and got an admission in prestigious university and stuff. And then, of course, there were some personal situations that didn't allow. And at that point in time, with my little awareness, hotel management was the cheapest option that would have made me an earning member of the family. So it's not that deep. There was no deep mission statement there. I just knew I wanted to become a business leader at some stage. So after I did my hotel management, I found a lot of hotels really hesitating to pick up someone with very obvious vitiligo on the face and body and stuff. And that point in time, the diversity and inclusion didn't exist the way it does today. So the hotel that hired me, they by default said that when they trained me, they were really kind, and I was doing some front office work for them for a while, and they said, "Do you want to move into training and see what it feels like?" And I did training for a while for them, and I was super successful. HR, I was super successful in helping them. They said that you have a real good knack for it. And academically, I was really good. So I think that really helped. I studied HR as a minor subject in hotel management with a lot of depth. There was a natural inclination to study HR. That led to a couple of psychology degrees. That led to some family situations, as I said, which brought me back to Bhopal, where I told you I did some summer internships. I did sales jobs. I did, customer service jobs and other things. And then eventually, training is something, as I said, with my last assignment, they found that I'm good at training new joiners. It started as a default thing and it eventually became my career trajectory. I also realized in my initial days of being a trainer that I'm able to explain things well. I'm able to really help people with experiential learning. The practicality of, I think, learning and development is something that really resonated well with me. So there are things that just click for you, and it clicked for me. What really helped me go forward from there, as I said, is just something I'll quote one of my team members. We were having a discussion, is to say that the biggest strength for an HR professional is resourcefulness. Can you be resourceful? And that truly helped me being resourceful in my early days of being in learning and development professional. There is a year when the subprime crisis was going on way back in 2008, 2009. We didn't have a training budget. Now, if you don't have a training budget, how do you ensure that an APAC-based learning and development leader role, you're able to sit in Gurgaon but are able to train people in a Thailand or a Malaysia or a Singapore? So I spoke to somebody in the technical team who said, "Hey, we have Webex. People are not using it all that well. Do you want to explore Webex as a solution?" I explored Webex as a solution and started doing virtual or hybrid trainings back then. When I was working for RPG, for instance, in the training function, I didn't have the experience of what really does it feel like still to be a retail associate on the ground. So when I was a part of their opening team as a training professional when they were scaling up in North India. So, okay, we have 100 people joining because we went to all these B towns in Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan and Haryana and hired people. So they are traveling, they're taking their trains to become a retail associate. The training is happening in Gurgaon, but there is no hotel where you can train them. So we went to the basement of that mall where this hyper store was opening. And in the night, I also stood on chairs and tables as the training professional to fix the lights and fix the fans and see who are the vendors in Gurgaon that you reach out to in Sikandarpur who will give you chairs in bulk. So you go to shadi houses and others. And I was so proud that despite being an HR professional, I've created this training room to train new joiners. You know what I forgot to do, Amit? I forgot to arrange breakfast for them. So the morning I am like dressed up like this training professional, my scarf and everything in place. And I go there and say, "Good morning, hum training shuru karenge." And this poor guy falls off his chairs and starts spewing blood. And we give him water and obviously we give him first aid and other things. It's 9 in the morning. And I'm like, what really happened here? Because I used to speak to everyone, a humble guard comes to me, security guard bhaiya comes to me and says, and I'm like in my 20s and says, "Didi, you haven't given these people breakfast. You realize they've come here for a 5,000 rupee job. They've traveled from their homes. They may not have money for breakfast. They may have spent all their money on How are you going to train them retail concepts? The tummy is not full. So my realization as a training professional was, okay, know your people. So we arranged for some bread and milk and omelets and stuff for folks. So some of these things, till you, as I said, you don't experience it, you can walk into a room and say, oh, I'm an HR professional, where's my office, where's my budget, where are the systems, where is my team? Sometimes you don't have a team, sometimes you don't have a budget, sometimes you just don't have a plan. So resourcefulness really helps you figure out few things. And that's why life experiences, Amit, which is go meet people, talk to them. If you don't do it, then you can keep asking for things, you can keep complaining, and you can keep thinking things don't happen to me. That's called being in a victim mindset.
Correct.
And you can stay there for as long as you like. It's a very comfortable place, it feels amazing, and you'll find people in your life who are in a victim mindset and who are not. So if you want to be in a victim mindset, it's a beautiful room, sit there, keep complaining, keep thinking about why things are not happening to you in life, and nothing changes for you. You have to get up, shake yourself, and move out and make things happen.
Very powerful. So powerful words, Neha. All right. So see, let's come to the end from there. From training, then you obviously moved into HR and you started liking it. So now
Correct.
coming back to the business side of it, we spoke about that your earlier experiences in sales maybe gave you that empathy and what people in other departments go through. So
Correct.
why is it becoming so much more important for HR people to know more about business and how can they go about it?
Hmm. The role of HR, as you rightly said, has changed a lot from where it used to be. You remember, it used to be called personnel department, and you would come and do the munshi job of HR, where you would sign slips and go away. HR is becoming more and more a strategic function in the organization, right? Very recently, yesterday itself, I read a post about how a massive organization called Atlassian has given the AI transformation agenda to their chief people officer. So it's the head of HR who will drive the AI transformation in the organization. Another massive organization, I'm forgetting their name, have their HR, this chief people officer and chief technology officer role combined. A CTPO role is becoming very common. And a lot of organizations have started following that, which is about the digital transformation or technology and HR agendas are getting combined. Now, what does that really tell you? The pattern tells you that uh, HR in itself is asked to be a strategy partner. I am by default a part of any business decisions that are taken. My business leaders expect me to be there at the table, knowing what really are the talent priorities of the organization. What does the future look like? And that can't just happen by knowing people and their salaries and their experience. No, I have to know which direction is my business going in, what really is my profit and loss, what really is my revenue, what are the pain points of my salespeople, what really are the pain points of my technology guys, my marketing team, how are they working with each other, are there real good workflows defined, do they feel good about themselves and their career, do they feel attached to the organization. But I also need to know what the market is like, who are the competitors that are going to hire my people, where are the organizations from where I can get people, what do colleges look like, what kind of skill inventory is available. Then I also need to know geopolitics, I need to know labor laws, how are the labor laws of the country changing, is my organization compliant, are we doing everything right, are we being ethical, how are situations like wars around the world, or let's say any kind of crisis related to any kind of things really helping. COVID was such a good test of how prepared are HR leaders, how much are they tuned into flexible working and remote working, and how prepared their organizations were. So that's why HR's role is changing, not just where you just need to know HR, you need to know everything else, but also HR is the way I look at it. HR, so you should know for sure. You need to know so much more. So making sure that when I come in as an HR professional, am I able to talk to people, have formal informal connects, are they comfortable sharing things with me, have I created a safe space where they know, oh, she will tell me what the right policy is, but she will also listen to me, she will also try and understand my perspective. She's someone who's very ethical but also empathetic, and I can sometimes, she's also a safe space where I can go and share, hey, this is a problem, I made a mistake, how do I fix it. So you have to be culture custodians as well. So that's the way I look at it, that HR is changing fast, and if HR professionals who are growing don't really see the role how it's changing, they'll be left behind.
See, the question which comes to the mind is for a young I mean, for any professional, but more so for a young HR professional, that he or she has his or her own KRAs.
Correct.
Let's say it's talent acquisition, talent management, HRBP, or whatever, and it's demanding, especially at a younger level. And then the person is also expected to lend a ear to other people, to be empathetic, to listen to them, and go out and meet other departments, try to understand them. So how to find time to do that? See, you said that you are already taking a sales assignment, your HR assignments. So
Correct.
I mean, please come to that later. But for a young HR professional, then how should one find time? How should one go about balancing all these things in the plate?
So, I mean, it's not easy for sure. And if you look at your workday or your entire day, including your workday into compartments, only that this is my working day, that's not going to happen. So, world is moving from burning yourself at both ends of the candle to really work-life balance to now work-life integration is the way I look at it. Now, is there any easy solution to it? See, if you want a very stable career path and only like being happily doing what you want, that is what 9 to 5 is for. And I'm being as honest and candid as I can be. So you can do your job and not learn anything new and go back. Personal example again. How did I, as you said, how did I learn HR L&D? How did I move so fast in my career? When I used to work for a customer service organization many years back before I'd moved into training, and I wanted to learn about training, and I told you there was one day when they didn't have a trainer and they said, can you do training for us? That's how my transition happened. I used to work, I had shifts, so I used to work till about 12 in the night, and I would go back and live in a PG. So cabs were available all the time. What I used to do, Amit, was from 12 to 4. I would just, habit came from college time. I would just go and sit in a system in the internet cafe in our organization and go to different organization drives. There is sometimes data about organization that is available for public consumption. And I would read about it and go through it saying, how does this industry operate? And I would read SOPs. They had nothing to do with me, just to see how are SOPs created. I would read training manuals. By the way, as a result of this, I was able to identify something a critical flaw in their process, just being a nerdy reader. And I was able to save some dollars for that organization, which really gave me my first recognition, where people went back and said, why did nobody see it? Because it was buried deep within the ecosystem, and I had some legal knowledge being a reading nerd. So now this is my own example that I really worked beyond my working hours to develop my skills, my capabilities, because opportunity is a 10-second window. Nobody will come to you and say, hey, you want to be a trainer, let me create a role for you. You want to be an HR professional and HR head, let me create a role for you. I have upskilled myself constantly to be able to do those roles. So when, for example, as you said, within 7 years of being an HR professional, when a head of HR opportunity presented, that there's a lot of prep that went behind it. Nobody came to me one day and said, do you want to be an HR head? In my previous organization, when my HR head was going through some personal challenges, I volunteered and said, can I play that role for you, without really having the title and the pay? Or I volunteered to help other functions, saying, yes, I manage learning and development. I do it really well. Hey, talent acquisition team, you're short of a recruiter. I know you are not getting another hire. Can I interview for you? When you help other people, and that's, without really asking for anything in return, people appreciate that help. And what you get in return is you get to experience what that function is like. So I'm saying, are there going to be 26 hours in a day? Not really, but you've got to find ways to smartly use your time and sometimes stretch yourself and then balance it out with breaks and holidays and those kind of other things. But yeah, I think that time needs to be given. There is no shortcut to success, is what this really means, what I'm trying to say.
Like you said, that you have to get out of the comfort zone.
Correct. You have to get out of the comfort zone. I mean, as I said, comfort zone is an amazing place to be in, but then be ready that will mean that you will have a path which is aligned to being in a comfort zone. Then don't look at others and say, why is this person moving really fast? We look at successful people and say, how did this person become so successful? What we don't see is the struggles, the extra effort or time they've put in, what have they done additionally, the good and bad experiences they've been through. So if you have to do that, I think. And again, if for people, youngsters, my only advice is, when age and energy is at your side, have the best food that you can, sleep, don't really get pulled away by distractions in a way that they can lure you away. And find your joy in into doing things that I mean, chasing pleasure is something that is an endless dark bottomless pit.
Correct.
So the moment you fall into it through any kind of habits, that eventually become problems for you, that's not going to lead you anywhere. So rather than thinking I'm chasing joy, which I will find in a trivial place, find joy in your day to day. And that will only happen by practice, as I said, by practices of meditation, spirituality, whatever spirituality means to you, staying connected to your roots, and being self-aware. So it's all a circle. It comes back to those fundamentals at the end of the day.
Very powerful. So meditation, spirituality, self-awareness. I hope we have time to get into that, but it has been around 45 minutes since we started. So very quickly, Neha, see, HR professionals are also expected to handle those difficult conversations. And sometimes, at the early career stage, it's not easy to handle. Difficult situations, difficult conversations. So how should one go about that?
There are, again, as I said, there are good books, there are good programs which can train you how to handle conversations. There are tools available that tell you about your conflict style or a conversation style. There are tools like TKI, conflict style inventory, that you can look to see that, do you have a flight response to a difficult conversation, a fight response, like how do you, what is your natural style. Then, as I said, there are books, tools, manuals, and trainings available. So go out and look for them. I'm sure, for example, your organization might offer something over there, as well. There are coaches and mentors that you can look at within your organization, with your teachers or anybody that you know. You can hire someone professionally to be a coach and mentor to train you. And some of this is just practice. I think that when I do difficult conversations, typically, as I've been talking about my love for pen and paper, I write down the points that I want.
Very nice.
And if I can give an immediate tip to anybody wanting to deal with difficult conversations, I would say develop real listening skills. That's a lifelong art. Don't be in a hurry to give answers. Listen to what is being said, learn to paraphrase, learn to make the other person feel safe in the conversation, that it's not a you versus me, this is not an enemies debate, this is normally human beings trying to solve a problem. So that's the way to go about it, is I think.
Very nice. So I think we talked about picking up stretch assignments as one way to learn, to explore. Like you said that you actively used to seek stretch assignments, and
I still do.
And like you're taking up a sales assignment you have taken up. That is very powerful. Along with this, we also talked about knowing, having the clarity, what we want, letting go of the sense of entitlement, getting out of the comfort zone, and learning more about business, going and meeting people. Anything else you would like to add to the young professionals, Neha?
The only thing I'll say is, add to that is, don't compare yourself to others. You are on your own individual path, so don't make this a race. It's You will have your own journey, have your self belief, that if you mean well, you are hardworking, you're doing everything you can, then even if something doesn't pay results today, you will see it paying results later on. So have that belief, and don't be in a race with others. That's never a good place to be.
Can you also give an example on how preparation, like you were saying, write down points, how preparation helped you handle a difficult situation or a difficult conversation in your journey?
Sure. I can think. Do you want me to give a specific example to you?
Yeah, that would be more interesting for the viewers, I guess.
Oh, no, absolutely.
You may avoid giving the name of the organization or anything, but what was the situation and how did pre-preparation?
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, interestingly, I'll share with you that the organization, one of my previous organizations, I had to do a difficult conversation with an employee to let them go. I mean, we do them all the time, so that's not new. But this is someone who did not know that they have performance challenges, despite having all the written feedback, everything from their manager. The self awareness was really poor. So I was facilitating a difficult conversation with a manager who was really nervous about telling them that, your improvement plan, performance improvement plan has failed, and this employee themselves who had responsibilities and other things, but they were not self aware. So I thought about that, what do I need in preparation of the conversation? So I wrote it down first of all, that what can go wrong, what do we know about the situation? So I said, okay, what we know about the situation, there is no way we can keep this person. They have had ample written feedback. They have a personal situation going on, so this will not bode well for them. Okay. So then I said, so what do we need? Maybe I can negotiate and give them a more compassionate pay, because they worked for us for so long and it's only for a year that their performance has gone down. Maybe I'll listen to them. I know that they will really have a lot of emotions in this conversations, and I don't need to take anything personally. So maybe I can just listen to them and be patient. Maybe I can tell the manager to be patient as well, and hear them out. So maybe I need to coach the manager. So I did that homework, that negotiated a better package for them, prepared and braced myself to be with this employee, listen to them and see does anything change, and also coach the manager saying, be kind, be nice, and things. And we went into the conversation, and I had points written down saying, look, this is your feedback, this is what the situation is. We unfortunately cannot keep you. Obviously they negotiated a lot and they got really upset, they cried, and I could not have cried with them. So sitting with them, helping them understand it, they made a request. They said, I have no help, what do I do? So I had done my preparation already. I said, look, we will offer you more financial support. Then they came back and said, will you consider hiring me for lesser money? Can I get a contract job? Can I do things? So I presented them with few solutions without getting into details that I thought before, saying maybe work for this organization, I can make a connection for you. Maybe work as a contractor, whatever it is that they wanted to do. And eventually the conversation happened. So that's one example I can give you, that prep, and again, by writing pen to paper, creating a structure to it, homework, and then going in and knowing what are the things I'm flexible on, what are the things I just can't do. And that's how I handled it.
Very nice. So I think preparation is very important, writing down, so you can prepare yourself to handle almost any situation which you
Correct.
face.
Absolutely.
Very nice. So any advice for people at the middle level? Or before coming to that, so how should a youngster plan his or her career? Is it like so once you start in HR, so should I first try to learn a specific function in HR, let's say talent acquisition or HRBP, or and then how do I plan my next 2, 3 years, 4, 5 years? Then once I reach there, how do I then plan my mid level?
Depends on, are you clear as an HR professional that do you want to be a head of HR, or do you want to be a head of function, or do you only want to do HR temporarily? So whatever it is, then plan your career accordingly. Maybe you just want to do talent acquisition, then that's great, be a recruiter, and start from there, and start learning the skills. If you want to be a generalist in HR, then try and pick up assignments like that, or opportunities like that. But whatever you do, I say always look for stretch assignments, always look at other functions. You can't be either a successful head of HR or a successful COE head in the future if you don't know about other functions. So always collaborate with your colleagues, offer knowledge, share knowledge, keep reading, keep networking outside, and as I said, have a presence on forums like LinkedIn, or even other forums, similar forums. There is Reddit, there is Blind, there is Glassdoor. But read about what people are saying. Talk to the actual business. Learn about your own business. Talk to actual business professionals. Understand their pain points. And from a career perspective, I will say, don't chase titles. I mean, the way the world is changing, I still see a lot of youngsters being stuck on titles, saying I have to be a manager or a VP or whatever. These things have become very diluted in today's market, Amit. You know, you can find a VP for who are earning 20 lakhs a year. You can find VPs who are earning 5 crores a year. There is no rhyme or rhythm to it. So I would say simply focus on the quality of work that you're getting, the mission that you're working towards. Is that resonating with you? Are you getting to learn? Are you getting to grow? Are you compensated fairly? Do you have the right benefits that are in line with your own life's requirement? And build your own path and have mentors in the way and keep investing in your learning.
Brilliant. The mentors and networking, very
Yeah.
powerful tools. How should one go about? So LinkedIn is one platform where we can look for both mentors and we can network also. Anything else?
Correct. Correct. I think LinkedIn is there. Organizations have their own, mentorship network sometimes, and you can kind of, tune into that. And then I would say, typically in your life, also look for your seniors from college, professors. Like there can be so many ways by which one can look for mentors, etc. So yeah.
So as a mental health expert, how to handle bad situations, your bad
Hmm.
mishaps, or you find yourself in a bad place. How do you get out of it?
Uh, I think
Why am I
again.
asking this is because it's very relevant nowadays. I don't know the way the world is moving. So
Yeah,
people, it's becoming more and more challenging, maybe because it's nuclear families
of
or
course.
so.
No, you're right. I think that's a very relevant question. And as I said, know your boundaries very well. As I said before, know your value system and your boundaries very well. And the moment there is a red flag, move out of a situation immediately. Don't be scared and build that. I would say trust your parents and trust the right people in your life, whosoever it is. It could be your family member, a couple of very trusted friends who have been there for a long time. And most importantly, trust yourself. So know your rights, know your own, know that you have to never really get pressured, and have that safety system for yourself, that if anything goes wrong or if anything seems to be going wrong, move yourself out early in the situation. And a worst case situation, if something goes wrong, please understand everything in life is redeemable. Mistakes, or even sometimes getting fooled, sometimes making a hugest mistake also is a part of life. You can recover from everything. Never think that any situation is the end of life. End of life is something that, the God or higher power is there to decide. People have come back from the worst of darkest of things in life, but you have to have that belief in yourself that life is a miracle and you've been given it. And even if you're being given the worst of experiences, there's always a reason for it, which will manifest in a different way. So reading about such people also helps, or speaking to such people who've been through their own struggles and how they've developed the resilience by coming out of it.
Very powerful. Thank you, Neha. And also, so people at the mid level, what would be your advice to them?
um, it's a very precarious place to be in when you are at the mid level, because you think you've developed enough experience and wisdom. These days, all of us, everybody is a coach, everybody is a gyani, everybody is a mentor. So there's something, you start getting that feeling of giving it back to the world. Use it meaningfully. I would say use it with real intention to develop folks. But at the same time, as I say, keep investing in your own learning. Reverse mentoring should become very important once you're a mid-level professional. That are you also learning from the youngsters, Gen Zs, and now of course Gen Alphas, who will join the workforce, on how they look at the workforce. How they look at how life should be, work should be, and are you able to lean into it? Otherwise, you will lead with old beliefs and they will fail you. So how are you able to work with them? Are you able to learn from them? Do you have enough humility? And the only last thing I will say for mid-level professionals is that start charting your career differently. What got you here will not get you there. So start rethinking and saying, yes, I had a final aim. Does it still make sense, or do I need to do something different? How do I need to invest in my physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health again to go on the journey forward from there?
We did a survey of CHROs, HR heads, in which 55 CHROs participated. So one
Mm-hmm.
challenge was that mid-level, they are getting burned at both ends by
Correct.
the junior people also and the senior people also. So it's a very precarious place to be in, like you rightly said.
Mm.
All right. So, uh, people at the senior level, what would be your advice to them, Neha?
I would say, when you are at a senior level, it doesn't change much from being in a mid to senior. I mean, the lines are really blurred, but I would say giving back, rediscovering yourself. You have a lot to give, so choose wisely to give back and pay it forward. And the second thing I'll say is you will be able to use your wisdom in a way that is meaningful for youngsters when you understand them. So spend time with them, work with them, keep your neuroplasticity high by leaning into things. And one, I think, very interesting trap for senior professionals is to fall into the mental talk again of, it happens at a, the more you grow in life is, in my days things used to be like this and that was better, not necessarily. So
Yeah.
when you lean into the humanity today, it gets lonelier and lonelier as you move towards a seniority in age, in work, in generally in your life. It doesn't have to be that way. You can find ways. I've seen senior professionals being completely aloof and clueless, and found those. I met a CHRO very recently, Amit, who moved from being a chief digital officer to a chief people officer at the age of 65. And when they were in that room of CHROs and they were interacting, the people that they interacted were with, typically with young professionals, asking more questions than offering an advice. So they would ask 5 questions, listen in, and when somebody asked them for an advice, they would say, "Oh yeah, this is how you can go about it," rather than all being, "I have all this gyan and I want to give it to world." It was a give and take, and I could see them being received very well, and they had a couple of mentees by the end of it.
Very nice, very powerful. So it's already more than an hour, but one last question. So meditation and spirituality,
Hmm.
finding answers, knowing about yourself and dealing with life. How does that help and how should one go about it?
Uh, so, what is meditation and spirituality? It's not one thing. It is simply the first step towards meditation and spirituality is acknowledging that you know you are a being uh, that has come into the world not just to make PPTs, not just to be at home and, let's say, eat food or sleep only. You have a higher purpose in life, and that's okay if you don't need it, but keep seeking it. So it's about the fact that, like your body needs care, your mind needs care, your home needs care, your existence needs care as well. Now, that care could mean different things for different people. You have to figure it out for yourself. Some people find a lot of peace into just meditating 5 minutes every day, to, let's say, 30 minutes every day. And that too also is not a, I'll come to that. Some people find a lot of their peace into listening to music or playing an instrument. Some people find their peace in, as I said, writing a journal. Some like to actually do some kind of a prayer ritual, like seva in Hinduism, or even for other religions, they have their own rituals. Some people like to travel and or visit, different places and feel spiritual. Bikers find their spirituality in riding a bike across mountains. So you have to see what really works for you, but make time for your existence. So and that is what will keep you grounded. And spirituality is unsettling, can I just say that? Not every day you will feel like you have to do your daily practice. That days you'll be really rushed and your mind will tell you, why are you meditating for 5 minutes? You're wasting time." Or there are other days your mind will tell you, "What was the point of this? We've been meditating for 20 days, nothing is coming out of it." Or, "We've been meditating for 2 years, what do you get out of this?" So it is to again calm your mind and just keep the discipline. I always say motivation disappears. Discipline is what stays alive. So have the daily discipline of, don't let your mind give you logics to keep out of things, and have faith and keep that certain time for yourself.
Very nice. You said you'll come back to meditation, 50 minutes.
Yeah, I was saying that I was coming to this point only, that whether it is meditation, whether it is journaling, whether it is traveling, whether it is just being quiet or doing yoga, this is the point I was making, that it's the daily discipline of things that makes sense. That you will feel very motivated in the beginning. Amit, I was in a journey 5 years back. I used to be about 95 kgs, and within 9 months of time, I lost a lot of weight, about 40 kgs of weight. So it was a massive health journey for me. And from what I learned from that 9 months of journey is that you will not feel motivated every day. So don't let James Clear has written a beautiful book called Atomic Habits. I recommend it to everyone, that meditation or any kind of practice is a daily habit. So your mind will tell you or play tricks on you to tell you on days that, Arey, why are we doing this? We don't have to do it. So I'm just saying that discipline always overtakes motivation. If you're feeling demotivated, don't give up on the practice of doing something good.
Thank you. It has been more than an hour, Neha, and I feel that we can go for another hour, but we have to stick to the time limits that we have set for ourselves. So thank you so much for your time, Neha. It has been really inspirational to talk to you, and I'm sure it will benefit so many viewers.
It has been such a pleasure to talk to you. You've been such an engaging, patient, and listening host. That it's just been amazing. I can't believe we're meeting for the first time, and I wish you all the best and Kushalta all the best.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you so
Take
much.
care. Thank you. Bye, Amit.